Understanding the roots of negative overthinking. Let's begin by acknowledging that our minds are complex and often they can feel like a maze. At times, it seems as though every turn we take leads us down a path of negative thoughts. But why does this happen? At the core, our brains are wired for survival, and this means being on constant alert for danger. This was helpful in the past when physical threats were a regular part of life, but in our modern world, this same mechanism gets triggered by psychological stressors, leading us to overthink. The first step in changing this pattern is to recognize that overthinking often comes from a place of fear of making a mistake, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. It's a defense mechanism, one that attempts to prepare us for every possible outcome. However, this preparation often spirals into endless loops of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons. So, how do we address this fear? It's about building trust within ourselves. Trust that we can handle the emotions that come with life's challenges. Trust in our ability to make decisions. And trust that, regardless of outcomes, we can learn and grow. To build this trust, we need to start small. Consider a situation that usually triggers overthinking for you. Instead of immediately trying to solve or avoid it, sit with it for a moment. Can you pinpoint the fear beneath the thoughts? Can you see how this fear might be trying to protect you, even if it's going about it in an unhelpful way? Now, let's shift our focus to our physical bodies. When we're caught in a cycle of negative thoughts, our bodies react as if to a real threat: tension, rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing. By becoming aware of these physical reactions, we can use them as signals. These signals are not just alarms, though. They are opportunities for us to engage with our bodies through calming techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or gentle movement. By doing so, we're not just calming our bodies, but we're also sending a message to our minds that we are safe. But what happens when we're not just overthinking a specific situation, but when negativity seems to be a general mindset? This is where the practice of gratitude can be transformative. It's not about ignoring the negatives, but rather about balancing our perspective. Each day, try to acknowledge things you are grateful for, and these don't have to be grand. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the taste of a good meal, the smile of a friend. These moments of appreciation can slowly shift your focus. Moreover, our environment plays a significant role in our thought patterns. The people we surround ourselves with, the media we consume, the spaces we inhabit, all of these can either feed our tendency to overthink the negatives or help us break free from it. Take a moment to reflect on your environment. What aspects of it might be contributing to a negative mindset? What changes can you make to create a more supportive space? Rewiring our thoughts through mindful awareness. Now, let's look at how we can actively rewire our thought patterns. Mindfulness is not just a buzzword, it is a tool. It is the practice of being fully present in the moment, aware of where we are and what we're doing, without being overly reactive to what's going on around us. When we're caught in overthinking, we're often living in the future, a future painted by our fears. Mindfulness brings us back to the present. But this isn't a one-time fix. It's a skill that requires consistent practice. Start by dedicating a few minutes each day to simply be present with your surroundings. Focus on your senses. What can you hear, see, smell, touch, or taste right now? This sensory anchor can pull you away from the negatives and into the reality of the moment. As you practice mindfulness, you'll likely notice that negative thoughts don't just disappear, and that's okay. The goal isn't to eradicate these thoughts, but to change our relationship with them. When a negative thought arises, acknowledge it, but instead of following it down the rabbit hole, gently guide your focus back to the present. Over time, you'll find that these thoughts have less power over you, that they come and go more like clouds in the sky rather than storms that upend your day. Another powerful aspect of mindfulness is the practice of self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on ourselves when we get caught up in overthinking, to feel like we should be beyond this. But self-compassion invites us to be kind to ourselves in the face of our struggles. It asks us to treat ourselves with the same understanding and care we would offer a good friend. When we notice we're overthinking, we can gently remind ourselves, this is a moment of suffering, and suffering is part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. Let's also explore the stories we tell ourselves. Our thoughts are often shaped by narratives we've constructed about who we are and how the world works. Some of these stories are old, perhaps passed down from our families or society, and they may no longer serve us. For instance, if we have a story that says we must be perfect to be worthy, then every potential mistake becomes a source of endless overthinking. What stories are you holding on to? Do they align with your current values and understanding, or is it time to let them go and craft new ones? Rewiring our thoughts isn't just about changing what we think. It's about changing how we think. This involves cultivating a growth mindset. A growth mindset allows us to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to learn and develop new skills. When faced with a negative situation, instead of spiraling into what could go wrong, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? This shift doesn't happen overnight, but each step we take in this direction builds resilience and a more adaptive way of engaging with our thoughts. Nurturing a positive mental environment. In this next part, we'll explore how nurturing a positive mental environment can help us in stopping the cycle of overthinking the negatives. Our minds, like gardens, flourish when tended with care. This means being intentional about what we plant and how we cultivate our inner landscape. One of the most effective ways to nurture a positive mental environment is through the practice of positive affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that can help you challenge and overcome self-sabotaging and negative thoughts. When you repeat them often and believe in them, you can start to see positive changes. However, for affirmations to be effective, they have to resonate with you genuinely. They can't be wishful thinking, but should be grounded in a truth you can stand behind, even if it's a truth you're working towards. In addition to affirmations, visualization can be a powerful tool. By regularly visualizing a calm and confident version of yourself, you can begin to align your subconscious mind with a more positive outlook. This doesn't mean ignoring the negatives. Rather, it's about visualizing yourself handling them with grace and resilience. Moreover, we can create a positive mental environment by curating our inputs carefully. This means being selective about the media we consume, the conversations we engage in, and the thoughts we decide to feed. It's essential to ask, is this nourishing my mind or depleting it? By becoming more conscious of our inputs, we can reduce the triggers that lead us to overthink the negatives. Let's also consider the role of learning and hobbies in fostering a positive mental environment. Engaging in activities that bring us joy and challenge us can shift our focus from overthinking to being in a state of flow, where we're absorbed in what we're doing to the point that time and worries seem to fade away. This not only provides a break from negative thoughts, but also builds our sense of self-efficacy. Building resilience through connection and community. Moving forward, let's discuss the importance of connection and community in building resilience against overthinking the negatives. Humans are social beings, and our connections with others can be a source of strength and comfort. When we share our struggles with trusted friends or family members, we often find that we're not alone, that others have walked similar paths and can offer empathy and insight. Furthermore, engaging in community service or group activities can shift our perspective from our inner turmoil to the world around us. By focusing on the needs of others, we not only contribute to the greater good but also gain a sense of purpose and belonging. This shift can naturally lessen the intensity and frequency of negative overthinking. A strong support system also provides a sounding board for our fears and concerns. Sometimes, just voicing what's on our mind can help us see things more clearly and reduce the power of overthinking. It's important to choose these confidants wisely, people who will listen without judgment and offer constructive feedback when needed. Additionally, we can cultivate resilience through the practice of empathy and understanding towards others. When we approach interactions with the intent to understand rather than respond, we open ourselves up to different perspectives and experiences. This not only enriches our relationships, but also helps us realize that everyone has their struggles, and often they're not so different from our own. Embracing change and taking empowered action. In this final part, we delve into how embracing change and taking empowered action can be instrumental in overcoming the habit of overthinking the negatives. Change is the only constant in life, and learning to embrace it can liberate us from the fear of the unknown that often fuels overthinking. Taking empowered action means recognizing that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. It involves making conscious choices about our actions, even in the face of uncertainty. When we take small steps forward, regardless of the outcome, we build confidence in our ability to navigate challenges. One of the most empowering actions we can take is to set boundaries with others as well as with ourselves. When it comes to overthinking, we must learn to set boundaries around our thought processes. This means giving ourselves permission to stop engaging with a line of thought that isn't serving us. It can be helpful to set aside a specific time for reflection or worry, outside of which we commit to focusing on the present. We can also empower ourselves by setting goals and creating action plans. Having clear intentions and a path to follow can provide a constructive outlet for our mental energy instead of getting caught up in cycles of negative thoughts. It's essential, however, to remain flexible and to view these plans as guides rather than rigid frameworks. Another aspect of taking empowered action is practicing assertiveness. When we communicate our needs and boundaries clearly and respectfully, we take ownership of our experiences. This can be particularly challenging if we're used to ruminating on potential negative reactions from others, but it's a crucial step in reducing overthinking. The journey towards not overthinking the negatives is also about recognizing and celebrating progress. Change doesn't happen all at once, and progress isn't linear. There will be setbacks, and that's okay. What's important is that we acknowledge our efforts and the strides we've made, no matter how small they may seem. Lastly, let's consider the power of commitment to lifelong learning. When we adopt a mindset of curiosity, we open ourselves up to new experiences and ideas that can challenge and diminish our negative thought patterns. Lifelong learning keeps our minds engaged and growing, which can prevent them from falling back into the trap of overthinking. In conclusion, stopping overthinking about the negatives is a multifaceted process that involves understanding the roots of our thoughts, rewiring our mind through mindful awareness, nurturing a positive mental environment, building resilience through connection and community, and embracing change with empowered action. These steps are not a quick fix, but a path to a more peaceful and centered way of being. Remember, the mind is a powerful tool, and with intention and practice, we can direct it towards a more positive and productive state. It is within our power to transform the energy we once used for overthinking into energy that propels us forward. Let this be our commitment to ourselves as we continue to grow and navigate the beautiful complexity of life.